Hey guys, Jay here and welcome to another cosplay tutorial. Today I'm making whatever this is. So this is actually a shield. So it actually fits on like so. This is from the Rising of the Shield hero for my friend Hardy-kun, who cosplays naofumi. This shield isn't shown very much in the anime. Don't know about the light novel or the manga. Whatever. We don't even know what this is called. That's why I said whatever this is. He's pretty sure it's called the Grimoire shield because it's a grimoire, but I can't find that anywhere online. I can't find the name of this at all. So if somebody knows, or Hardy, if you end up figuring it out, let me know. But if anyone knows, leave it in the comments, please, because we are so confused. So like all the other shields that I've made for Hardy, this one lights up. It's probably hard to see here. Hold on. They didn't actually remove that much light because there's a window right here and I can't do anything about that. But, that kind of worked. Here. Yeah, there you go. You can see down there it's glowing now. But, this can change color to whatever other colors you want to do. But green, I think that's green, is the correct color that he wants anyway. I don't know exactly. I think it does glow green for every shield except for the Rage shield. But he said green, and I'm pretty sure it's green. So that's what I'm doing. But he's going to have the remote for this, and there's actually a place inside. It unhooks with magnets, and there's a little place in... This is really hard to do. There's a little place inside. Okay, let's do that with the lights on. There's a little place inside here where the strap goes all the way through, and you can put the remote in there. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to have a template for this. If I do, it will be free, because other than watching this tutorial, it's not going to help you at all. Because there's no way I can tell you how to do this in a line art template. That's not going to happen. But anyway, let's get on to the actual tutorial. I start this build with a cardboard mock-up to make sure I have the scaling right. Then the first piece I work on is the cover of the book, and I'll be using What the Foam for the entire project because I want this to be as sturdy as possible, and What the Foam is extremely sturdy compared to regular EVA foam. I traced the template out twice onto 6mm What the Foam and cut them out. I also labeled which edge was the top so I could make sure they were oriented in the same way when I put it all together. Then I cut 3 strips from the same piece of foam that were about 2 inches wide and scored lines running down the length. This will mimic the look of pages, while allowing the middle of the book to still be hollow. I also cut them to the lengths needed to fit the book and angled the 2 far edges. This will make mitered corners, which looks a lot better, kind of like a picture frame. I cut the details from the template and used it to figure out where the dome for the light will go. Just like all the other naofumi shields I've made, I use a DIY ornament that splits in half. I traced the shape onto the book cover and cut that out with an X-Acto knife. Then I used that same detail part of the template and traced it out onto 2mm What the Foam and also cut that out with an X-Acto knife. I cut the edges a bit long though because I can trim it down later once it's glued to the cover. Which, speaking of, I used super glue to glue the details down to the front cover. This is also one of the reasons why I needed to know where the top edge was, so this piece would align correctly. I also forgot to mention, but I didn't record it. There's a sort of curved strip that will serve as the spine of the book. It's the same height as the book covers, but once the front and back covers are all put together, the width of the strip for the spine is wider than the entire thickness of the book, including the pages, by about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. This is because the spine is curved, so it needs to be bigger when flat in order to fit when it's curved. I also cut the long sides on an angle pointing inward, so that once it is curved, the angled edges meet up with the book itself. I cut out one more strip the same size as the fake pages, but the same height as the covers, and contact cemented it along what will be the spine of the book, and this is what the actual curved spine piece thing that I mentioned earlier will be attached to. And then I glued this on as flush as I could to the edge. Then I did the same for the fake page strips, but I inset these about 10mm. Hardcover books like this usually have the covers larger, which this one actually does as well, so this gives that look to it. You can also see how cutting the angles into the strip's far edges make the corners look better than if I didn't do that. Also, at first I glued all these pages to the front cover, but realized that wasn't the best way to do this, while also being able to open it to get to the light inside, so off camera I cut them off and re-glued them to the back cover. Before I get too far, and before I realized I needed to put the pages on the back instead, I first added the straps to hold it onto your arm. I just used some black elastic that I had lying around, and I cut slits into the foam and fed the elastic through, sewing it together on the inside, so that it can't come back out. However, when doing this, you do need to make sure to test the length that you need to make so that you're sure that you have either not too much room or it being too tight. And then I did 2 straps, as this will help keep it stable. Having only 1 strap would be a pivot point, which you don't want. And this is the light. It's just a disc, or puck light, whatever you want to call it. I super glued it into a hole that I made in 10mm foam, and the back can come off to get to the batteries. Now the page pieces are on the back cover, and this is how the front stays on, but also open. Magnets. I added a square in each corner of the inside, and have pairs of magnets that hold onto the cover. To put the magnets into the foam, I used a Dremel with a cutting bit and made little holes and super glued the magnets in place. If you do this, be extremely sure that you have them in the correct orientation, so that the magnets don't repel each other. Now I can move on to painting. I covered the front and sides of the front cover, and then just the pages of the back cover, in black Plastidip, which is too hard to film since I need to be outside. Then I used acrylic brush-on paints for the rest. I used an off-white color and dry brushed the pages. This is where you remove almost all of the paint from the brush, so it covers very lightly. This will give the pages a worn look. I also paint the back black, but I probably should have just done that with Plastidip, but it's too late now. And I'm using black because it'll make it more shadow looking, and you normally don't see the back anyway, so it looks better to just not have color weirdly peeking through from some angles. To start the paint on the cover, I mixed a red paint with black because I couldn't find a dark red in any of the local stores at the time, but if you can find a dark red, just use that. It wastes way less paint. I also don't know if this is the exact correct color or not, but it's close enough that I don't think it matters. And I used a mop brush to paint it on because this reduces the brush strokes. Then I used a silver acrylic paint for the raised detail. I don't think I need to explain that, so I'll move on to the straps that are supposed to latch the book shut. These won't be functional as they won't unlatch, they'll just be super glued in place. Since the entire cover comes off anyway, I'm just making it so that you can take that off, but it'll still be attached by these 2 straps. All they are is just a strip of 2mm foam with a little 2mm arrowhead, little accent piece. The 2 pieces are super glued together and painted. The head and about a 1/4 inch of the sides are silver, and the rest of it is the same dark red. At the very end of the build, I super glued these on the front and the back. I used some frosted glass spray paint on the inside of the ornament half and super glued it in place. The frosted glass stuff heavily diffuses the light so it doesn't look like one single hot spot. Also, here's what the spine looks like with that curved piece. Then I used contact cement to glue the 10mm foam that has a light in it onto the back of the front cover, so now it won't go anywhere, and I still have access to the batteries. And it just so happens that the inside part of the strap that goes around your wrist is the perfect place for the remote for the lights, since he keeps losing them. And the final steps were to glue on the little straps and hit the entire thing with a matte clear coat. Alright, so there you go. That's how to make this shield, the book one, whatever it's called, Grimoire shield, I don't know. But that's how to make this one. If you'd like to see the other shields that I've made, my friend Hardy, which this is for, this is his 4th one now. But if you guys would like to see the rest of them, they'll all be linked down in the description. I'm not going to post all of them up in the cards because it's annoying and tedious and I don't want to do it. So I'll just link them in the description to make it easier. But anyway, that's going to do it for this. If you like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later.